The following two scenes are the most famous from this play, Meiboku Sendai Hagi. The first, leading on from the previous Takenoma, is known as Goten no Ba, a room within the mansion. As we have seen, here in the secluded women's quarters of the mansion, adult men are forbidden. This is the official residence of Lord Ashikaga Yorikane, until recently master of a feudal domain in the north of Japan. However, due to his dissipation and neglect of the administration of his estates, Lord Yorikane himself has been forced into retirement, and his successor is his son, Tsuruchiyo, who is still only a vulnerable boy. For this reason, the reins of government are now in the control of an evil chief retainer who, with his followers, wants to get rid of the boy to become lord in his own name. The chief retainer is the arch-villain of the play, Nikki Danjo, one of Kabuki's most wicked and frightening characters. He is a man well versed in the black arts, whose sinister presence is felt throughout the play. He and his evil group intend to assassinate the young lord, and may at any moment make another attempt on the boy's life. In these dangerous times, Lord Tsuruchiyo has few to protect him, but among those still serving him loyally is his nurse, Masaoka. As the blinds lift, Masaoka stands before us, with the young Lord Tsuruchiyo on the right, and Masaoka's own son, Senmatsu, on the left. The actor is Bando Tamasaburo. The role of Masaoka is one of the most important and difficult for an onnagata female role specialist. The role type is called katahazushi, after the asymmetrical top knot of hair. Such women were always serving ladies of rank in a lord's mansion. The The narrator on the right describes Masaoka's thoughts and how she worries for the safety of her little charge. With so uncertain a future, she wonders who there will be for him to depend upon. The two children turn to watch Masaoka's troubled face. First Senmatsu on the left, and then Lord Tsuruchiyo. In Kabuki, it is a convention for all children to speak in a high-pitched monotone. Lord Tsuruchiyo asks if it is now safe for them to speak. Indeed, the danger has passed. They are now quite alone and can speak freely. Sister of the evil Nikki Danjo is chief lady-in-waiting Yashio. As we have seen in the previous scene, Yashio attempted to get rid of the loyal nurse by presenting false evidence that proved Masaoka unfit to look after Tsuruchiyo. Much to Yashio's chagrin, however, her plan was foiled, due partly to the little lord's own intervention. Masaoka here praises him for his wisdom in listening to her words. Another thing she has told him is that a strong warrior must never complain of hunger. He does not mean to complain, but for some time his stomach has been empty. That is no wonder, Masaoka replies. Due to today's unforeseen events, she is late in preparing the children's meals. Both Lord Tsuruchiyo and her own son Senmatsu have had to wait long enough. She will begin preparations for the meal straight away. But Tsuruchiyo stops her. There is a tray of food already here, he says. Could they not simply eat that? Ordinarily, she would not hesitate to serve this tray of food. But these are difficult times, and though the lady Okinoi who prepared this tray is far above suspicion, nevertheless, they cannot be too careful. Masaoka would prefer to make his food herself. He should listen carefully, and she will explain. Now, throughout the household, wicked people are everywhere, and whether it be a senior retainer or a mere serving maid, they must take special care. Due to malicious slander, the loyal retainer, Otokonosuke, has been banished from their lord's side, and there is now no one else on whom they can rely. All the meals sent up from the kitchens, Masaoka has thrown into the garden, and instead she herself has cooked the food. She has done this because she fears She has stopped herself in case they are being overheard. Poison. They must be careful of poison. Though he is undoubtedly hungry, he must endure it, as must her own son, Senmatsu. For the past 4 or 5 days, they have eaten only 1 meal a day, and Senmatsu has loyally persevered. She praises her son. He has listened to her obediently, and without a word of complaint he has endured his hunger. Tsuyoi, Tsuyoi, what a strong warrior he is. But mother, he replies, as the child of a samurai, it is his duty to put up with hunger. Furthermore, she has taught him that at mealtimes he is to taste the food for their lord, to eat it even if it is poisoned. Out of loyalty, he has waited in silence. But if his duty is done, he admits he would indeed like to eat something soon. Until that time, he will continue to sit like this, with his hands placed on his lap, waiting. He now says the famous line, "Though my stomach be empty, yet will I feel no hunger." Senmatsu's last line is famous, for it typifies the spirit of perseverance and self-sacrifice expected of a samurai warrior. Sentiments which were highly respected in pre-modern feudal Japan, and ones that lie at the heart of this play. We are told, however, that Senmatsu tries hard not to weep. Still childlike, he is anxious to earn his mother's praise. He will not cry, he says. And he tries to hide his tears. Suppressing his own feelings, how well he deserves to be a samurai's child. Seeing his sweetness and youth, his mother's heart goes out to him. She has the idea to praise him, hoping it will also have an effect on Tsuruchiyo. Senmatsu is indeed a strong warrior, she says. Just as she thought, Tsuruchiyo's sense of rivalry is stirred. He insists he is the stronger, for he feels no hunger at all. He is a feudal lord, and is quite capable of sitting here without eating a thing, like this. Nurse, it is he who is a strong warrior. But of course, Lord Tsuruchiyo is admirable. Seeing his excellent behavior, the likes of Senmatsu could never compare. Now she will hurry and prepare their meal. The narrator describes how anxious Masaoka is to feed the boys and how speedily she stands to go to begin preparations. First, Masaoka brings out a board game to keep them occupied while they are waiting. She tells Senmatsu to entertain their lord. What follows is the famous mamataki, rice cooking section, in which the narrator describes the meticulous steps Masaoka takes in preparing the rice. The section is supposed to take a long time, for the nurse is anxious about the threat to Tsuruchiyo's life and must pay special attention to every move she makes. Although this play was first written for kabuki, it utilizes the narrator and shamisen player of the Takemoto school of music that comes from the Bunraku puppet theater. In Takemoto, the narrator describes many of the actions as they occur, as well as the characters' emotions. On occasion, he will even take over lines of dialogue. The close interaction, therefore, between actor and musician is very important. The narrator describes Masaoka taking out utensils that she had carefully locked in the cupboard. Here, in the secluded women's quarters of the mansion, she has no access to proper cooking equipment and must, in fact, use the extremely inconvenient bowls and iron pot of the tea ceremony. The use of such equipment in this scene gives an impression of refinement and nobility, for the tea ceremony has always been considered a great accomplishment. Masaoka cooks the rice according to the complex and difficult rules of the ceremony, in which special attention is paid to every little detail, even down to the proper way of folding the square silk cloth. Masaoka calls Senmatsu over to drink some of the water to make sure it is not poisoned. The narrator will make a pun on the word raku, the name of a kind of pottery often used for tea ceremony bowls. However, raku narade also implies being ill at ease, which here hints at Masaoka's concern as she watches her son for any ill effects. The water appears to be safe. This mamataki, rice cooking section, is said to be especially difficult for the actor. If it is performed too slowly, it will appear sluggish, but if done too quickly, the tension of the scene will be lost. Rushing through the actions would be highly inappropriate to the strict and ordered atmosphere of the tea ceremony. Here, even though the children are nearly starving, they must wait. No matter how painful, they must show the self-discipline of true samurai. She prepares to pour out the rice. The three-string shamisen is the single most important instrument in the kabuki theatre. There are three sizes, and that employed in the Takemoto school is the largest, with a correspondingly deeper and more resonant tone. Notice how, particularly in this scene, the playing of the shamisen will match and punctuate the actions on stage. The narrator describes Masaoka's feelings of concern for the innocent children and how her tears spill over like the water with which she washes the rice. The loyalty in her heart, we're told, is as pure as the rice washed bright and clean. With long silver chopsticks, she puts in the charcoal to heat the water. Senmatsu's hunger gets the better of him, and he cannot resist taking a look to see the progress of the cooking. Such was the popularity of this play in pre-modern times that the name senmatsu entered the Japanese language as a slang expression for being hungry. Masaoka thinks it's senmatsu again, but her manner changes completely when she realizes who it is. Oh good, the rice is done, the rice is done. How happy the children are. We hear of the cheerful faces of the boys. As Masaoka looks on, their sweetness pierces her breast, and she must fight to hold back her tears. The rice will be ready shortly. Senmatsu asks that she feed Lord Tsuruchiyo soon. She will do so, but the rice is not quite done yet. In the meantime, they should play with the little sparrows that they have grown so fond of. It will soon be time for the parent bird to come and feed its young, so they should take the cage onto the veranda. Senmatsu obediently agrees, but as he tries to stand, he is weak from hunger. There is a pun on the word chu. On the one hand, this refers to chugi, loyalty, that Masaoka has taught her son, and on the other, it mimics the chirping sound of the parent sparrows as they flutter about in the nearby bamboo. The motif of sparrows among bamboo is important in this act and can be found on the round family crests of the date house, painted onto the back of the golden sliding doors. Senmatsu manages to take the cage onto the veranda, and there is a famous pose here. Masaoka has given rice to feed the sparrows, but now she notices how thin the children's faces have become from lack of food these past few days. Out of filial loyalty to his mother, Senmatsu has hardly eaten, and Masaoka will again try to suppress her tears. Once more, the boys think the rice is ready. But again, it is still not quite done. Masaoka scolds her son for his impatience. She tells him to sing that song about sparrows to amuse Lord Tsuruchiyo while they wait. But Senmatsu does not want to sing. Sing, she orders. Sing. Having been scolded, Senmatsu is forced to comply and begins the song in a trembling, tearful voice. The song begins. Once behind the house there was a little tree, a little tree. And high up in the branches sat little sparrows three, little sparrows three. And to the other sparrows one little sparrow said, one little sparrow said, Masaoka completes the last line. Last night I called to my bride, for soon I will be wed. Soon I will be wed. The narrator tells us that from beneath the leaves of bamboo, the parent birds fly out to feed their young. The beaks of the sparrow chicks poke frantically through the bars. Seeing the parent birds feed their young, Tsuruchiyo can no longer contain himself and begs to be fed as well. That Tsuruchiyo is envious of the little sparrows, Masaoka well understands, but she can do nothing. To distract their attention, she begins another song, which, coincidentally, is about another boy named Senmatsu. Once I had a son. Senmatsu was his name. Senmatsu was his name. She scolds the real Senmatsu. He's supposed to be cheering up their lord, but instead is showing a sulky face. He may be young, but he is a samurai, and samurai do not cry. She orders that he continue the song. To take as a slave in the gold mines, when he was 8 they came. When he was 8 they came. 1 year his mother waited, but saw no sight of him. Saw no sight of him. Nurse, is the rice still not ready? A little longer. Please wait just a little longer. Two years his mother waited, but still no news was heard. Still no news was heard. Mother, is it ready now? What? You as well? This is bad behavior. But Senmatsu says he was not asking for himself. He was merely concerned for their lord, as his stomach is quite empty. Tsuruchiyo is strong. It is not he who keeps pestering her, it is Senmatsu. Senmatsu is being a nuisance. Wounded to the quick, Senmatsu denies it. If he is not pestering her, why then he will be good enough to raise his voice and continue the song. And the narrator comments that the young boy sings out through his tears. In the song lyrics, Senmatsu's mother waited long and wept. Waited long and wept. We hear of Masaoka's desperate effort to suppress her own emotions. She tries to sing on. And what is it the mother misses that makes her shed such tears? But she is so moved by the words of the song that Masaoka also breaks down. Though her duty is to serve her lord, still she cannot help having the feelings of a mother. Tsuruchio may be a child, but he speaks with all the wisdom of a feudal lord, says the narrator. He asks the nurse why she cries. As long as Senmatsu does not eat, nor will he. He will stop pestering her, but should she still think him a nuisance, he asks her to forgive him and to stop her tears. How well and thoughtfully he has spoken. She thanks him. But it would be a fine thing for his wet nurse to cry, wouldn't it? No, they were not real tears that he saw. She was only performing a magic spell to make the rice cook sooner. He should look now, for there are no tears in her eyes. She was laughing because the magic spell has worked and the rice at last is done. Now she will make those special rice balls that he likes so well. Masaoka bids him wait for the last time, just a little longer. With the rice almost before them, we're told, waiting yet another minute is like waiting 10,000 years. A moment longer. First, Senmatsu must taste the food in case of poison. There is nothing to fear, she says. Tsuruchiyo may eat, but he should do so in a composed manner. The narrator comments that a powerful warlord would receive an income of 10,000 bushels of rice, yet, ironically, Lord Tsuruchiyo here may eat only one handful. In better days, he could expect to feast upon the choicest foods. The narrator describes Masaoka's feelings as she looks on at so unworthy and scanty a meal as this. A maid has entered. She reports that Sakae Gozen, wife of the Governor General, has come wishing to inquire after Lord Tsuruchiyo's health. Masaoka is shocked. But she cannot prevent the entrance of so high-ranking a person. She tells the maid to convey her message to the other ladies of the household. Masaoka instructs the maids to bring out a formal long coat and to clear away the dishes. In a serious tone, she reminds her son not to forget what she has taught him to do. From within, a voice calls out that if Lady Sakae is here, they must all enter to greet her formally. On the right, the evil Yashio re-enters. Maids also bring in extra lamps. Though the stage remains brightly lit today, we should imagine the proceedings taking place in flickering candlelight. Lady Sakae is played by Nakamura Karoku. She formally welcomes Lady Sakae and introduces herself as Tsuruchiyo's wet nurse, Masaoka. And she is Nikki Danjo's younger sister, Yashio, Tamura Ukyo's wife, Okinoi, Watanabe Mondo's wife, Matsushima. They have all come to welcome Lady Sakae to the mansion. She thanks everyone for their kind greeting. Masaoka and the others invite her to enter. The shamisen, drums and flute play the melody called Chu no Mai. The use of these instruments in this way adds a sense of grandeur as Lady Sakae takes up the position of honor above and on the right. In the very politest tones, Masaoka addresses Lady Sakae to inquire what her purpose might be in visiting them today. They would all be grateful if she were to say, "She has come at the Governor General's request." They have heard that the young Lord Tsuruchiyo is feeling unwell. So unwell, in fact, that he cannot at present stand the company of adult men. Therefore, she comes to these women's quarters today in place of her husband to find out Lord Tsuruchiyo's condition. They have also heard that the boy has lost his appetite, and, wondering what might be to his taste, the Governor General has decided to give him a box of fine cakes as a present. She has brought the cakes with her, and now she asks Yashio if she would place them before Tsuruchiyo. Yashio exclaims at how beautiful and delicious the cakes seem. She encourages the boy to have one at once. With the excitement of a child, we hear, Tsuruchiyo cannot wait to take one. Why has Masaoka stopped him? The cakes are a personal gift from the Governor General. Does she dare to suspect them? Masaoka says she does not. Why, it is Masaoka's own behavior that is suspicious. But the other women who are loyal to Tsuruchiyo speak on Masaoka's behalf, saying that she was only trying to protect the boy from the possibility of poison. Teaching the boy self-control is the task of his nurse. It is for that reason that Masaoka stopped him. Is that not so, Masaoka? In that case, is she saying that she does not suspect these cakes? Then shall Sakae herself give the boy a cake, or will Masaoka? Which will it be? Which will it be? Lady Sakae brings all the weight of her authority and rank to bear upon the nurse, and orders that she give the lord a cake. Just then, Senmatsu dashes in. As he was trained to do, he tastes and then spoils the cakes before Tsuruchiyo can touch them. Within seconds, he begins to show the signs of poison. With the plan to murder their lord about to be revealed, Yashio takes decisive measures. The narrator describes the action of the dagger plunging into the boy's throat. Masaoka unwinds the cord around her own dagger in preparation for a fight. With danger at hand, however, her first duty is to protect Tsuruchiyo. The loyal women demand to know why Yashio has attacked Senmatsu without questioning him first. There is really no need for all this fuss and commotion. How kind it was of the Governor General to make a gift of these fine cakes. For that brat to kick them over and spoil them is surely the greatest insult to him. He may be a small brat, but he cannot be allowed to get away with it. It is out of devotion to their household that she, Yashio, is punishing him. Ah, but the poor little thing. Is it painful? Does it hurt? Though she isn't even a relation, yet she feels the tears well up in her eyes. But Masaoka, this is your only child. Do you not feel sad? Suppressing her true feelings, Masaoka says that her son was rude, and for the good of their house, he should be punished. Is she really not sad? Not even now. Not even now. Slowly and cruelly put to death, Senmatsu's voice calls out in pain. But the narrator tells us that, though Masaoka is racked with emotion, in this her lord's moment of greatest danger, she must endure her own suffering. In this famous passage we hear the lines, "She sheds not a single tear. Surpassing the strength of men, Masaoka's loyalty will go down in history, passed on from age to age. Her example will shine out as a mirror of heroism." From the beginning, Lady Sakae has been watching the nurse closely and inwardly laughs to herself. She praises Yashio. The boy committed the grave sin of kicking over the present from the Governor General, spoiling the plan. She corrects herself. Spoiling the cakes. Yashio was quite right to punish him. She has behaved splendidly, splendidly. Why, it was nothing. Yashio thanks the lady for her lavish praise. Lady Sakae now has something she wishes to say to Masaoka in private and requests that the others all withdraw. The narrator tells us that the faithful Okinoi fears for Masaoka's safety, but cannot go against the order. In Japanese, Oki also means open sea, and we are told that Okinoi's concern is as deep as the ocean. The sea imagery is continued. As the ladies withdraw, they are compared to the receding tide. Yashio also leaves. In Japanese, shio means tide. Approach. Masaoka must feel pleased that her plan has worked so well, and so discreetly too. But Masaoka does not understand. She needn't try to hide it. How clever she was to swap the two boys round without anyone realizing. She wouldn't have known herself had she not been watching Masaoka so closely from the start. No mother, however strong, could have stood by and seen her own son tortured to death before her very eyes and done nothing, said nothing. Convinced that she has seen proof of Masaoka's part in the conspiracy, Lady Sakae has something to give her. She should inspect this scroll. Masaoka is shocked to find it is a list of all the evil conspirators, containing the names of over half the household. She must keep her voice down. As for the scroll, she is entrusting Masaoka with its safekeeping. Despite her amazement, Masaoka accepts the scroll gratefully. Lady Sakae will now take her leave. She calls for maids to light the way and to escort Lady Sakae out of the mansion.
Sakae Gozen-sama no otachi. Masaoka, Chiko.
She warns Masaoka not to let anyone find out about what has occurred. Again we hear the music Chu no Mai as Sakae exits regally down the Hanamichi pathway. This now is the emotional climax of the act. Masaoka will try to stand, for she must make sure that Lady Sakae has really gone. The shamisen creates an air of tension as Masaoka fixes her eyes firmly on the distance. The narrator tells us that Masaoka is now quite alone, but still she looks around to check and double-check that there is no one there. At last, she brings herself to look upon her son's corpse. After all her self-control, now, suddenly, her tears come flooding out. Senmatsu, she says, you have died well. Dekashatta. Well done. Well done. Through his sacrifice, the wicked Lady Sakae, thinking that he was Lord Tsuruchiyo, has told her of all the other conspirators. All the gods and Buddhas will take pity on him, for through his efforts, Tsuruchiyo has been saved. She gives thanks to the gods. Though no more than a child, he listened to what his mother said, and when the situation became desperate, he obeyed her words and tested the poison food. Well done indeed. By showing such strength and resolve, he has proven himself a hero throughout the length and breadth of the province. Having first praised the boy as the savior of their clan, Masaoka then gives vent to her own feelings of grief as a mother. At such moments of heightened emotion, the actor will often speak rhythmically in time to the shamisen. The practice is called nori, meaning to ride the strings. If only he had died by the hand of a more worthy opponent, for Yashio is barely human at all. Holding the cloth as a dagger, she reenacts the knife plunging in. And what emotion did she feel as she, the mother, stood by and watched? She bites the cloth to suppress the sound of her sobs. Masaoka recalls the song about the other senmatsu that they so recently sang together. She remembers how the boy in the song was taken as a slave to work in the gold mines, and how the mother waited for a year but saw no sight of him. Two years his mother waited, but still no news was heard. Yet for the parents in the song, she says, they could still hope that news would come. But though her own senmatsu has the same name, Masaoka can never hope to meet him again. She could wait 100 years. She could wait 10,000 years. And still no news would come. Throughout all the worlds in the universe, surely a parent's emotions are the same. Feeling love for their offspring, all other parents would scold their children for touching poison. Yet she instructed her child to taste it and to die. Surely there can be no other mother as cruel and heartless as she. She wonders whether it was really luck for Senmatsu to be born a samurai's son. Or was it his bad fortune? What kind of world is it when the innocent young are asked to die for loyalty? The narrator tells us that Masaoka gives in totally to the feelings of a woman's heart. Meanwhile, Yashio is aware of Lady Sakae's fatal mistake in speaking of the conspirators to Masaoka. She has heard everything. She cannot permit Masaoka to live on. But the ladies accuse Yashio of treachery and demand that she confess. They have a witness to her crimes. It is none other than Komaki, the physician's wife. It was her husband Doeki who was ordered to concoct the poison, but the conspirators then murdered him lest he let out the secret. As a woman, she could not avenge his death single-handedly, and so Komaki joined the evil faction. It was she who told Sakae that the boys had been switched, and had that lady completely fooled. It is time at last for Yashio to confess. Masaoka succeeds in stabbing Yashio, but as she does so, she drops the important scroll, and a mysterious rat appears to snatch it away. The rolling drum in the background indicates the supernatural. The women are shocked by the rat's strange appearance. Yashio was an evil conspirator in their midst, Senmatsu's murderer, and an enemy of their house. It is the will of heaven that she should die. The lights dim, and the entire stage set will rise as our attention shifts to the dark and murky cellars beneath the women's quarters. The following short scene is very famous, and will feature the loyal retainer Otokonosuke, whom Masaoka previously mentioned as having been wrongly banished from Lord Tsuruchiyo's side. The The scene will be performed in an antique style of acting called aragoto, or wild warrior style, with its exaggerated gestures, poses, and vocal delivery. The hero, Otokonosuke, will have red lines of makeup called kumadori, representing him bursting with righteous indignation. The grand stop-motion poses, emphasized by the wooden clappers from the side, are called mie. He declares that he is Arajishi Otokonosuke, a loyal retainer of Tsuruchiyo's who, through the slander of evil men, was forced to leave his lord's side. But secretly he has returned and was on night duty in the murky cellars beneath his lord's rooms when this giant sewer rat came by. Certainly the suspicious creature is no ordinary rat. Before he beats it to death with his iron fan, he will wrest the scroll from its mouth. The actor in the role of Otokonosuke is Bando Mitsugoro. The rat is struck on its forehead, but will soon escape down a hole in the Hanamichi. In its place, there will soon rise the figure of the arch-villain and master of the black arts, Nikki Danjo. Danjo will hold the important scroll in his mouth. He will have a fresh wound on his forehead and will be dressed in rat-colored robes. As a sorcerer, he has the power to transform into animal shape. He throws a dirk. He slipped through his fingers. Curses. The curtain closes to leave Nikki Danjo alone on the Hanamichi. 2 candles appear held out by stage assistants on either side of Danjo. They are retained from the days before electricity for their visual beauty and for the somewhat ghostly light they shed. The actor in the role of Danjo is Nakamura Kichiemon. The actor performs a famous pose as Danjo prepares to exit. This final exit is performed as though walking on air, and we should imagine the evil sorcerer lifting off and gradually disappearing into the clouds. This translation and commentary was written and narrated by Paul Griffith.